Hello everyone, I am Michelle. Welcome to the Oracle of the Central Sun. This video is about Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo. Welcome to my channel and welcome back if you've been here before. Please share, please like, please leave your comments. Interaction helps my channel and my business to grow, and I really appreciate it so much. So sometimes we tend to think of Mercury retrograde as a negative thing. And yes, it can be, because Mercury is associated with technology. And sometimes when Mercury is retrograde, we can have little bits of things going wrong with technology, email glitches, anything to do with messaging and communication. But in general, I always feel that every single retrograde planet is there to guide us even deeper and guide us to reevaluate in order to become who we are actually meant to be at this time. So it doesn't happen that often that Mercury is retrograde only in one sign. It will often retrograde between two signs. So this Mercury retrograde is only in the sign of Leo. It is happening between 4 degrees of Leo and 15 degrees of Leo. So if you have planets or points, your ascendant, your midheaven, any of these places between 4 degrees and 15 degrees of Leo, then you can know that this Mercury retrograde will be especially pertinent for you. So I am actually a Leo rising, so I have had such amazing experiences with Mercury retrograde in Leo before, and that's why I titled this video the integration of heart and mind. Because Leo is the sign of the heart. It is about that big-hearted energy. It's about open-heartedness. It is about leadership. It's a very protective energy. And it is about loyalty. It's about confidence. It's very action-orientated, and it's also very creative. And there's just such a heartfelt openness with Leo. Sometimes Leos get a bad rap because people say they want all the attention. But yes, this can be true, but also it's more about really displaying leadership qualities and wanting to bring love and protection and loyalty to the world. So with Mercury, Mercury is that symbol and that energy of the mind. It is about our intellect. It's about communication. It's about our thought processes. It is the planet of travel, of commerce and trade, of technology, and also changeability. And Mercury was known in ancient times as the psychopomp. And the psychopomp means that it takes souls to the underworld. And this speaks to that changeable part of Mercury, because Mercury is equally at home in the upper world as it is in the underworld. It's equally at home in the conscious mind as it is in the unconscious mind. So this changeable energy of Mercury also makes a Mercury retrograde so pertinent, because so much change can happen in a short period of time. You know, when the outer planets go retrograde, it's a very slow process, and they can be retrograde for half the year, 5-6 months of the year. And it's a slow process of change. But because Mercury is so changeable, it can, in a usual 3-week period of retrograde, achieve so much change in our conscious minds, in our unconscious minds, how we see the world, how we communicate, our thought processes can be completely overhauled. And in the sign of Leo, like I said, we can achieve this beautiful integration between heart and mind and who we are now, and how we are thinking and communicated in a much more heart-centered way. So I wanted to speak to the exact dates of the Mercury retrograde. So the shadow period started at 4 degrees of Leo on the 30th of June. Then the retrograde starts on the 18th of July at 15 degrees of Leo. And then, as it happens with every Mercury retrograde, because Mercury is situated so close to the Sun, when Mercury retrogrades, it always has a conjunction or a cazimi with the Sun. And this is a point of renewal. It's a seed point where the new story is started and new energy is formed in the heart of the Sun. And this cazimi or seed point happens either on the 31st of July or the 1st of August, depending on where you are in the world. In South Africa, it happens in the early morning hours of the 1st of August. So, excuse me. So then, after the cazimi, Mercury is then still retrograde. It turns direct again at 4 degrees of Leo on the 11th of August. And then it clears the shadow period at 15 degrees of Leo by the 25th of August. So all in all, this process could already have started for you at, excuse me, at the very end of June, the 30th of June. You can reflect back when I mention the houses for the rising signs at the end of this video. You can reflect back and you will probably be able to find the process that started for you at the end of June, and will now start entering that real changeability, excuse me, the changeability part of the Mercury retrograde cycle happens when Mercury turns retrograde. And this is when we start rethinking and reevaluating things. When the cazimi happens on the 1st of August, that's usually when we have had some kind of light bulb moment, and we've had a new insight, a new seed is planted when Mercury and the Sun come together, and Mercury is then at its strongest, and it uses that light of the Sun to shine at its brightest. When Mercury turns direct on the 11th of August, that's when we have a new direction again after the retrograde. And then by the 25th of August, when we're clearing the retrograde shadow, that is when we usually would have implemented our new discoveries that happened during the Mercury retrograde period. So all in all, we've basically have the whole of July and the whole of August, if we include the shadow periods. If we only include the retrograde itself, that is between the 18th of July and the 11th of August. So words for Mercury retrograde: it is about rest, it is about a reset, It is about a re-evaluation, renewal, reflection, refreshing, reassessment, realignment, reviewing, and also redoing. I have found for myself and for my clients in the past, sometimes we've moved in a certain direction and Mercury retrograde actually course corrects us to go in the appropriate direction, and sometimes we do redo things because we have such insight into things that were not correct at the time, and then when we redo them, then we are on the correct path where we are supposed to be. So I did, as per usual, a Ching reading for this Mercury retrograde, and I received hexagram 49. It is called Skinning, Revolution, or Welcoming Change. And skinning is all to do with the snake shedding its skin. And this is so perfect for Mercury retrograde. The guidance of the I Ching says, change is good. Strip away the old. By recognizing and acknowledging the cyclical nature of life, by going with the flow and with change, you can enjoy success. This is a time of radical change. Summer yields to autumn. Winter dissolves into spring. A snake sheds its skin. When the time is right, you can change the world. You are linked to the spirits. This begins a new cycle of time. Doubts and sorrows will be extinguished. I absolutely love this, and this is really just guiding us to go with the flow, to know that things work in cycles, and to also relax into the cycles. So I drew a tarot card for the Mercury retrograde in Leo, and this is for the whole collective. And it really reaffirms what the I Ching has already said. It is the Four of Swords. And you can see this person is lying on their back. They are resting with their hands in a meditative position. And the sword is laid down on the table. The other swords are up on the wall. He's not about to do anything anytime soon. He's recognized that now is a time of rest and contemplation. So this really reiterates for me what this Mercury retrograde is about for us. It really is about rest and rejuvenation. I think energies are moving so fast at the moment, and there's so much going on in the world that we really can allow ourselves this rest and rejuvenation time. So words for the Four of Swords is rest, relaxation, self-preservation, rejuvenation, a pause, and contemplation. So these are really beautiful things to take with us until the middle of August or the end of August, to allow a time of change. Allow yourself to change. Allow flow to come in order to not resist what wants to be born inside you at this time. So I've got a affirmation for the collective that you can work with during this time of Mercury retrograde. and it reads, I am resting and flowing. I'm allowing the new me to arise with ease. I really love that. I'm going to definitely stick that up somewhere in my home during this Mercury retrograde period. I am resting and flowing. I'm allowing the new me to arise with ease. I really think it's very important to consciously, also during your contemplation and rejuvenation time, to connect the heart and mind, to really integrate those two parts, and also to allow things to come that may be unexpected, to not cling with the Mercury mind to what we think should be or how we think things should be, but to be open for new things to arrive and for new things to arise. So I'm going to end this by briefly giving the houses of the Mercury retrograde by rising sign. So for Aries rising, the Mercury retrograde falls for you in your 5th house. So this is a new perspective re-evaluation for you in the house of joy. Where do you find your joy? What hobbies do you like? What's going to change? What's going to change with how you relate to your children, how you relate to romance, how you relate to things in life that generally bring you joy? For Taurus rising, this is happening in your 4th house. This might be about making changes in the home. It might be about new perspective with family or parents, new perspectives and re-evaluation about what home means to you and what you would like to have in your home. For Gemini rising, this falls for you in your 3rd house. The Mercury retrograde for you falls in the house of the mind. The 3rd house is about your communication, your intellect, your mind, your thought patterns, and it is also about siblings and your environment. The suburb where you live, the suburb where you go to work. So there is going to be maybe a rethinking and a re-evaluation. You could find completely new ways of working with the mind, letting go of old thought patterns, finding new ways to communicate, and also maybe just finding a new way to drive to work or change up your routine in terms of how you get from one place to another in your close environment. For Cancer rising, this falls for you in your 2nd house. So the 2nd house is about your resources. It is inner and outer resources, so money and skills. So there's going to be a re-evaluation and a new perspective for you, Cancer, in terms of your resources. And for Leo risings like me, this is all about who you are. It is your personality, it's your communication style, it is about your body. You might find new ways to communicate, new thought patterns can arise. You can even find new ways to communicate with your body and new ways to relate to your body in terms of exercise and well-being. And for Virgo rising, this falls for you in your 12th house. And the 12th house is that liminal space. It is the unconscious mind. It is how we deal with our own mental health. And so for Virgos, there can be a real breakthrough and a re-evaluation here in terms of how you relate and communicate to your subconscious mind and how you deal with your own mental health. For Libra rising, this Mercury retrograde falls for you in your 11th house. And 11th house is all about your hopes, wishes, and dreams. It's about groups of people, your colleagues, the clubs that you belong to. And it is about benefactors, people that show up to bring you gifts and to help you advance in life. So there can be people from the past coming back to help you, reconnecting to old groups of friends, or just finding new perspectives in this area of life. For Scorpio rising, this is happening in your 10th house. The 10th house is your career and your public life. So there can be a real rethinking and re-evaluation and new perspective in terms of what you want from your career, how you think about your career, and how you relate to people in your public life. For Sagittarius rising, this is happening for you in your 9th house. The 9th house is the house of spirituality. It is the house of how you relate to foreign cultures. It's the house of how you relate to teachers and teaching. So there can be a completely new perspective by the end of this Mercury retrograde in terms of your spiritual life and how you view your spiritual life at this time. For Capricorn rising, this falls for you in your 8th house. The 8th house is another one of those liminal houses. The 8th house is about how we share with others. So for Capricorn, this can be a real evaluation and a new perspective by the end of this Mercury retrograde in terms of your own give and take. How you share with others, how you share your love, how you share your resources. The 8th house is also the house of transformation and death and rebirth. So there can be a real change in terms of how you relate to other people and how you share yourself and your resources with other people at this time. For Aquarius rising, the Mercury retrograde falls for you in your 7th house. The 7th house is all about your one-on-one relationships. It's all about those people that you are close to, that you spend alone time with. And you might find that you are going to reevaluate. You're going to find new ways of thinking and new ways to communicate with people you love in your life at this time. It can also be about clients, how you relate to your clients and communicate with your clients. And for Pisces rising, Mercury retrograde falls for you in your 6th house. The 6th house is the house of work. It is about your daily routines and daily habits, and it is about your health and your health habits. So for Pisces rising, you're going to find a re-evaluation and a new way of thinking and being and new perspectives in terms of your daily routines. You might find that you re-evaluate and drop things that no longer work for you, find better schedules, find better ways of dealing with your health and your daily routines. So this is such a beautiful time. I personally love Mercury retrograde. It always helps me personally to get so much clearer on in a specific area of my life. So I wish you all a beautiful Mercury retrograde. Again, it's happening between the 18th of July and the 11th of August. And the shadow clears by the 25th of August. So I'm going to say the affirmation one more time that we can use during this time of Mercury retrograde. I am resting and flowing. I'm allowing the new me to arise with ease. Thank you so much for being here, and apologies for all the coughing that happened. Yeah, I never know how it's going to turn out when I start a video. So please share, please like, please subscribe, please leave an emoji if you don't feel like leaving a comment. Even though I love to hear how these planetary movements work out in your life, what stories are happening for you. Yeah, please leave an emoji if you don't feel like leaving a comment, just to create some movement on my channel. And I will see you again next time.